The last sheet that we're going to work on is the cover sheet. Right now we have all the drawings kind of blocked out. This first one here, A101, you can delete anything that's on the sheet. We're going to be using this one as our cover sheet. Cover sheet is going to contain two things. One, a three-dimensional sort of diagram of all four structures. And the last thing is a drawing index. So we'll make some adjustments to these sheet numbers and we'll put them in an index. So the index is going to go right here in the corner. And the three-dimensional representation of the structures will go, it'll basically fill this sheet. So what I'm going to do is go to the 3D view that I have already generated here. And I'm going to start by going to shifting it over so I see the left, the front, and the top. This is going to be placed on that cover sheet, and we want to leave room down here for the index. All right, so what we're going to do is right-click on that 3D view and duplicate the view. Right, and we're going to call it, I'm going to rename it, and I'll do this in capitals, Exploded Axonometric. Sometimes these are called paraline drawings. Sometimes you'll see them called isometrics. But basically, it's a type of drawing that is not in perspective. These camera views are in perspective. This one is not. All right, so we're going to use this as an opportunity to kind of reveal some of the things that are behind the image or behind the surfaces. So right now, this is a very closed box. We have no idea what is the structure underneath here. So we'll use some techniques to reveal that, either by pulling some of the components away from the structure or changing them to transparent. So the first thing we'll do is change this to more of a presentation type of visual style, right? Now, we have a couple of techniques that we can use to help to reveal content. One of them is to change things to be transparent. So if I want to see some of these foundations below here, but I don't want to turn off the contours, I can click on them, right-click, and override the graphics. So for example, I could change the transparency here to 70% and say, okay. And now it's going to let me see what's below that contour line. I can see the piers all the way down, and I can see these foundations and footings. So that's one technique that you could use. Another technique is to click on a component, and under the Modify panel, I can click on Displace Elements, and then I can use this control to pull things away. Okay, so that's going to allow me to sort of show things that are underneath. Once I've done that, another graphic that I can use to help illustrate kind of the placement of things is to click on it and click on where it says path, and then draw a little, I'm just clicking here on these corners and it's generating these path lines. Okay, now what you decide to pull away and expose is up to you, but I would try to reveal some aspects of all of these structures that would otherwise be hidden. I suppose the third thing that you could do would be to completely eliminate something from the view if it's not really providing that much information. But like this one, for example, would be a good one perhaps to change the transparency. You can use the slider, or you can kind of give it a specific amount, and you can kind of through trial and error, test out different transparencies for some of these items. So like this one, I want to see inside there. So I'm going to override this one and, bring this slider up. They don't all have to be the same. This one, perhaps I try to use an extrusion process and pull this away. Now, how far away do you go? I think it's good to have a little bit of overlap. If I pull it away too far, it sort of loses its place in space. But again, you need to sort of make some of these decisions. And then I can use the path tool to kind of indicate where is it coming from. You can do that from all the corners. So you want to go through and take a look at some of these components and try to figure out which ones should be eliminated. Other things for this drawing that we want to do, I'm going to click on the datum here, and I'm going to hide the category in this drawing. You should be able to pick multiple things at the same time, I think, and use that exploded tool. Let's see if it lets me. It did. So if I wanted to just bring up a few, I should be able to do that. And then I can, again, use, oops, I don't want to do that. I'll click on one of these. Oops, I think that it's going to group them. It's okay. I can kind of use those tracking paths to sort of indicate where things are being stretched from. Okay, so it looks like it left these two for some reason. So it takes a little bit of playing around with to get them to sit in alignment. But again, you can play with these paths and see if that helps. So also, if you change your mind and you want to bring it back to where it is, you can click on something. Like I tried to pull this over to the left, and I don't think that really works. So I'm just going to click on it and press reset, and it's going to bring it back to where its original position. Another thing that you can do is select one object and then select all instances visible in the view. And you can then do that same process. Like, let's say I want to make all of that decking material. I can do this by category and change this to, like, let's say 70%. And now I can see through the decking material. Maybe you don't want all of it to be transparent like that, and that would require that you kind of go in and individually pick some of the elements. Okay, so, they're all going to maybe look a little bit different, and that's fine. Just maybe choose some things that you think help to convey the assemblies of these various structures. Again, using transparencies and using the explosion tool. Keep in mind that you can kind of group things if you need to select more than one, or you can use the categories